Greetings to Madam Mina and everyone. My name is Lois Huang Jiaying, matrix number 79906.
My name is Muhammad Faiz Firdaus bin Semael, matrix number 80223.
My name is Nur Adila binti Muhammad Sabri, metric number 80482.
My name is Aaron Sewalong with the matrix number of 78602.
My name is Wafa Adlina binti Hasti, and my matrix number is 78579.
Today we'll be discussing the process of logo design. In short, a logo design process is a series of methods employed by designers in creating a functional logo design to develop their creative outputs. These logos are usually used by companies or small businesses to promote their visual identity. Based on the 5I logo design process by Xiao Hong, we have identified the process, which is firstly, identify, secondly, ideate, thirdly, imagine, fourth, improve, and then finally, implementation. I will pass the time to the next speaker.
We would like to discuss more about this topic. So, for the first step is identify. For the first identify part is analyze the brief. To analyze the brief is to have a precise understanding of what they want. Like we need to inspect every details. Next, we need to identify the purpose. Understand the client's need, like point out the reason from what the client asks us to do. The third one is identify key requirements, like the criteria of the project. We need to take care of these important details so we don't miss out for the outcome of the logo. And lastly is identify design constraints like the project duration, budget, and so on. So I will pass it to the next person.
The next step in designing a logo is by ideation. Ideate is a creative process in generating ideas, especially in design. Ideation can be done by doing mind mapping, brainstorming, sketching, brainwriting, and prototyping. The purpose of doing ideation is to get a large number of ideas to be filtered and cut down into the most practical, the best and the most innovative ones in order to create better solutions and product. How ideation can be done in designing a logo. There are many methods that can help during the ideation sessions in designing a logo. Example, sketches, brainstorming, brainwriting, the 5Y technique, and mind mapping. In logo design, ideation methods such as mind mapping is one of the effective ways in designing a logo as it expands the keywords and ideas which will help the designers to explore and solve solutions. Another method is by sketches. In designing a logo, designers eventually will do research and must turn it into creative output as ideas travel from the mind to the page. A great way to kickstart this part of the logo design process is by doing sketches. This will help the designers to communicate their ideas with their team members or client. Designers can start doing thumbnail sketches before designing a logo. Thumbnail sketches are quick drawing used for brainstorming and investigating the appearance and visual impact of ideas. Therefore, ideation can help a team to create varieties of innovation as they are able to gain strengths and perspective from each of their team members. I will pass this discussion to the next speaker.
The next stage in logo design is imagine. In this stage, the designer will begin providing solutions after doing their research in the previous stage. There are four sub-stages in this stage, which are exploration and development, analyze the conceptual and design ideas, implement design solutions, and produce the design. At the first stage, the designer will first have to generate ideas and concepts through exposing themselves to different media to gather source of inspiration. The designer will then have to analyze the conceptual and design ideas from different mediums and inspirations gathered to discover possibilities for solutions. The third substage is to implement a design solution in which the designer will input all the solutions that are backed up by the concept and design ideas into sketches, thumbnails, and drafts. Finally, after generating the sketches, thumbnails, and drafts, the designer will be able to proceed to the final design. I'll pass this to the next speaker.
The fourth process is to improve the logo design. In the improvement stage, a designer must explain and discuss the design output with the client. This is because the designer and the client must have a mutual understanding about the work process, from the sketches to the semi-comprehensive drawings and the final outcome. Later, this logo design should be placed into the intended environment. Such environment could be a mock-up or prototype of where the logo would be applied realistically in the real world. Examples of implementations of this logo in its intended environment are a letterhead, envelopes, and a name card. Consecutively, the designer should also identify critical successes and errors of the prototype. After placing the design into its intended environment, identifying the success and errors of the prototype would help both the client and the designer to understand how the final output could be marketable for the audience's eyes. Finally, the designer would modify and finalize the design based on feedback. A designer must be open to feedback on what should be done for the logo and how they desire it for their business. This is also necessary to avoid any possible misunderstanding between designer and client. Therefore, a designer could make use of past iterations to enhance the design and eventually make it more marketable. I'll pass the time to the next speaker.
The last step of logo design is implementation. Implementation step is the procedure for finishing the project and bringing the design phase to a completion, where in this process, the designers must pay attention to a variety of end users in order to meet the requirements of the clients. Furthermore, during this process of implementation, the designers have to evaluate their final design outcome and ensure the effectiveness of their logo designs with the clients. The designers as well need to perform a last judgment or consideration of their design solutions, organize the final paperwork, deliver their final designs, and conclude the project during this phase. Hence, the step of implementation of design by evaluating the design outcomes and ensuring its effectiveness is important to redefine one or more problems and improve the client's understanding of how they think, conduct, and feel, as well as their ability to empathize with the structure of the logo designs. Therefore, in conclusions, the logo design process are identify, ideate, imagine, improve, and implementation. That's all from us. Thank you.